What's up, everybody? This is NealReal, and this is The Father You Didn't Have. Wisdom from an elder about relationships and happiness in life. Like, share, and subscribe. Now let's get right into this topic. Why don't men and women like each other? So this is kind of an overview, and I'm going to break down individual topics going from this later on. But I see a lot of drama between men and women online, these polarizing videos where men are going in on women and saying all this negative stuff about women, and then women then are doing the same thing, very mean and disrespectful things they're saying about men. And so I hate to see this, because men and women were made for each other. You cannot separate the two. They're like two sides of the same coin. They come together. They're a package deal. You can't have one without the other. You can't be independent. We are an interdependent species. Let's get into this. There's a few things that are the reason for men and women not liking each other, or in some cases even hating each other. The first thing is trauma from self-centered strategies to get your needs met. So people have had things happen to them by the opposite sex. Instead of getting therapy or even knowing how to get therapy to save their mindset, they've developed a lack of empathy for the opposite sex. Okay? And so now they deal with the opposite sex in a very hostile way. They use the opposite sex. Okay, so two things are happening. They first got hurt by the opposite sex, and now they're hurting the opposite sex. So a woman may be hurt by a man. She doesn't get any therapy. She doesn't get any support for her mental condition, which traumatized her, by the way. And now she is dealing with men from a place of anger and pain, and she has lost all empathy for him. She still needs the man, but that's it. So most likely she may manipulate him to get the resources she needs from him, and then at some point discard him. And that's what's happening between the sexes. Men are also being mistreated by women, and then they're being traumatized from that event, and then turning around and saying, women ain't shit. All I'm gonna do is fuck them, get what I need sexually from them. They have no value, and then they just discard them, and that's how they deal with women. Well, these self-centered strategies that they do to get what they need out of each other is what's harming people, because it's lying and deception going on between men and women just to get their needs out. They need each other, and they're like, but I don't want to deal with this person because I don't like them, but I still need them. You see, so a man will lie to a woman and say he loves her. I want a relationship with you going forward, and whatever I need to say to get the draws, because actually all I want is sex from a woman. That's it. I don't want no relationship, because when you in a relationship with a woman, all they gonna do is hurt you. They don't respect you. They don't like you. And so why would I want to be in a relationship with this woman? But if I need to I know she wants a relationship, because all she get is dick every day. And she wants somebody to actually give her affection and admiration and attention and emotional support. So I'll lie to her, pretend like I do that, and then once I get what I need, dump her and move on to somebody else. Or exploit her need for these things and get money out of her and things like that, and live off of her and be a parasite to her. And then once she realizes that, I'm not really giving her an equal exchange of value, then I'll dip out and run off, or she'll just, end a relationship with me. You see, this type of shit is what leads to people hating each other. Fortunately, I don't have that level of hate for women. I don't have any hate for women. I don't have those type of experiences. I've been mistreated, and I've been disappointed by women, but I still love women. I still like women, and I don't have that type of energy towards women. I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for the knowledge of psychology and how things happen to us, and how it can alter our brains or our mental state to where we feel a certain way. And I can look at that and say, wait a minute, I'm not going to allow this to change my view of women. So that's one way. One of the reasons is just trauma. People are traumatized by what happened to them from the opposite sex, and now they're operating out of that pain. It's just they're trying to protect themselves, from hurt. Let me move on to the next one here. Loss of understanding and interdependence. So we need to understand, like I think I mentioned this at the beginning, but we need to understand that we need each other. We are interdependent. Here's another one: the loss of understanding the masculine and the feminine dynamics, okay, and how they work together. You would not dislike the woman if you understood her value and how she works with you. You cannot discard her, or just use her for sex, and vice versa. A woman can't just use a man for money, attention, and emotional support and discard him for everything else. If you understood his value, that you need him, you need the whole man, you need the whole woman. You're right. I had another set of videos talking about the values of a man and then the values of a woman. Check those videos out. And so unfortunately, men and women have forgotten, or they never knew they don't have the understanding of the masculine and the feminine energy. Okay, these energies work together, and they're throughout nature, everywhere. They always work together. To not understand them is why a lot of people don't like each other. And if you did, you would say, you know what, I got to get over this shit because I need this person, and without them, I'm not necessarily at my best. So finally, the reason why men and women hate each other or they don't like each other is the media is responsible for a lot of this, okay? So they will perpetuate traumas that has happened to women by men, and they'll blow that up. Other women will start to identify with those traumas, even if they didn't personally go through it, and they become this kind of a club where they all think men are this way because this happened to one girl in a group, or all of them come together because it all happened to them. And now it's just this thing, but it's the media perpetuating these, making movies about abusive men and perpetuating that. It's YouTube channels strictly for women to talk about the negatives of men, and they perpetuate it in these videos. They get all these views. They're the ones they push in the algorithm for people to see. It's polarizing, and it's by design. Now, why is the media doing this? Because the media, in my opinion, is controlled by an outside force that does not want to see successful relationships between men and women. They would prefer that there be misery going on between men and women. That's just my opinion. And so they orchestrate things like this because you can change people's attitudes and mindsets about each other through media. It's very powerful. If you show a lot of couples just getting along and loving one another and make that the focus, most people start to look at each other and say, you know what, let me make this work with the opposite sex. But they don't do that. They love this polarization. They love this fight and this war between the sexes, this gender war, they say, the gender war. So outside forces, okay? Another thing that is responsible for men not liking women and vice versa is feminism. Now, I have no issue with feminism. The first few waves, this was a fight for equality. Feminism was cool. It was about getting rights and not being oppressed by the man, the white man. But it became this thing now where women are hating men now. They got equality, they got rights, but now it's, well, maybe I can oppress the man now. And this is why I mentioned the marriage laws being kind of, favored towards the women. That's because they have now done things to oppress the man now. The powers that be, once again, I believe, is the outside forces that don't want men and women to have a successful, loving relationship. They then push those women towards emasculating men, making it about women are better than men now, and training men up to be just utilities and concubine servants, and really trying to suppress masculinity. They call it toxic masculinity now, and if that's a real thing, there would be something called toxic femininity, but that don't exist. And so really what it is an attack on masculinity, particularly leadership qualities and things that make for a successful relationship between men and women. And so when a man becomes less masculine, he becomes less attracted to women. So now you have this thing where women are not even attracted to most men because they're not masculine. And this is done by outside forces. And so this is why men, women don't like men. Now the men don't like the women because the women by nature, if their men are not masculine, will become masculine to protect themselves. So if there's no leadership, there's no covering, there is no protection. Like I said, I have a video specifically talking about the values of a man to a woman. If that's not there in her life, she has to protect herself. And that means she has to put her femininity down and allow the small traces of masculinity in her to rise up so that she can protect herself. So now she's this masculine person and she comes off as unagreeable and unfeminine, unladylike. And the men don't like that. So men don't like women because they're coming off as masculine, you see? And I see this as an outside force doing this. So you can't really blame men because, frankly, they don't want to be that way. But yet they're told over and over again, your masculinity is toxic. Change that. You need to be more softer. Let's get that bass out of your voice. Stop being a leader, and they're being manipulated into being almost feminine in some ways. And so outside forces, in my opinion, are responsible for men and women not liking each other. As I said before, it's trauma, but that trauma is perpetuated by media. Nobody's really trying to fix the trauma. They like to keep it inflamed. And people then they start to hate each other. They lose empathy for the opposite sex, and all they see the opposite sex is somebody they can take from. And so they create strategies to take stuff. This women got whole channels about how to get the bag from a man, what to do, what to say, and then get in that legal marriage so that if there is a divorce, she gets half his stuff, alimony, the kids, and she pretty much is winning and he's losing. And this is set up from the beginning. There's whole channels teaching women how to do this, and vice versa. There's channels teaching men how to get sex from women without commitment, without love, respect for the woman, and pretty much lying to the woman and being dishonest. And this ain't man shit. You can't be lying to women. Okay, this is foul. Women shouldn't be doing it either, but the man is the leader. He's the one that just sets the standard of morality in some cases, and you can't be that way. And so men are acting like women are acting like men, and outside forces, once again, I believe, are responsible for this, and that's why men and women don't like each other. Okay, they need each other. They like each other deep down. But they got these traumas in place. It's like, I want to like this person. I want to like this opposite sex, but these traumas get in my way, and I just look forward to healing between men and women, And so that's all I got for you today. Stay tuned for more. Hopefully that helps you out. Thanks for listening to the end. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can email me at neal@nealreal.com. You can also go to my website, NealReal.com. I encourage you to check out NealReal.com. That's NealReal.com. Or you can email me at neal@nealreal.com. Have a blessed day.